Hi everyone, I hope you're all well. It's Friday again. I'm back in my greenhouse because it doesn't look too bad out there when I look out at it there, but it's actually been very, very rainy here this afternoon. We've floods on the roads and everything, so I thought it was safer to be in the greenhouse. And you'll hear drips coming, and I apologise if that messes up the sound a little bit. So because it's raining so much and I can't go out in the garden, I had intended to do a tour around the garden with you guys, but because it's raining I can't really do that, and I'm going to just do a few little bits and pieces instead. For any of you that follow me on Instagram, I can't believe I'm even saying for anyone who follows me on Instagram, but for anyone who does follow me on Instagram, I was trimming my box hedges yesterday, and I thought I didn't do a how-to video, but I did do a before and after photo, and I thought it might be no harm to show you guys the tools that I use to do that, because I love doing it. Like, I can't believe I love doing that, but it is just so satisfying, you know, when something is a mess and you turn it out. And oh, hi Anita, thanks for joining me. It's lovely when you start off with something that's a mess and it ends up looking tidy afterwards. And even though I'm afraid when I'm doing it that I'm going to make a mess of it, I think the trick is to just do it little by little by little. And if you do take off too much, not to panic is the other tip, because you can start doing that thing, like, you know, when you're trimming someone's fringe, where you just keep going and going, the next thing you know, all they have is a little bit of a thing here. So don't panic is my other tip. So the tools I use for cutting my box hedge, I have a straight kind of length of hedge, and I use my hedge clippers for that, and this is my good hedge clippers that I have to hide from my husband so that he doesn't use it on any of the other rubbishy trees. Because if you use it on something that's too thick, on any kind of branch that's too thick, what happens is it's sort of I don't know if you can see how tight it is. What makes it so isn't just the sharpness of the blade, it's how tight the way the two blades meet is. That's what really gives you the good sharp cut, a good clean cut when you're trying to cut small little leaves like you have on a box hedge. And I have another hedge clippers that's totally ruined from trying to do bigger bushes with it. So if you have a good hedge clippers, and they're kind of dear things, so you know, it could be €50 even for a Midland one. You can go mad and buy a Japanese thing, it costs you a couple of hundred. But if you have a good one, I would advise you to keep it for good use, as I do say, and keep it for hedge clipping, not for hacking down big bushes or trees. So that I use. Then my other thing, right? Okay, everyone probably has some kind of secateurs, something from Aldi or anything, and do you grand. There's no need to go mad, but this one is really good. It's really sharp and I love it. I also have to hide this. All good things have to be hidden in my house, so that is also hidden. It has a pouch. This is the pouch. I keep it in the pouch because my husband doesn't look inside the pouch. So it's Kent and Stowe, which I think is a kind of fairly good brand, and that's pretty sharp as well. So that is basically it. Nothing much more to that. So that's great for pruning anything. When we come to the pruning time of year, I will go through that with you properly and explain how to do it. I use it for taking cuttings. I use this for kind of everything. This is very handy, and it's grand for doing any small bits of trimming on the box hedge shapes. So if you look at my Instagram photos, I have a spiral and a cube. They were not spirals and cubes when I bought them. One was a ball and the other one was a cone. And this is very good for doing the fiddly bits. But you could be there all day with it because it is fairly tiny and there's a lot of box hedge. So this baby is my kind of meeting size. I'm kind of like, you know, Rebecca Scissorhands here. Anyway, this one, I love this one. It's absolutely brilliant. It's as sharp as anything. It kind of, you can do this, you know, snip, snip, it's brilliant. So I really recommend getting your frustration out with a pair of hedge clippers, or these kind of shears, I think these are called. This is Kent and Stowe as well. This Kent and Stowe crowd must be fairly good, because I think I paid €27 or something for this. But I would, if you have a lot of hedge and you want to keep it nice and tight, this is your man. And it's not that funny, Lisa. So yeah, definitely. have great fun. So those are my 3 tools for cutting box hedges. And I'm doing a kind of miscellaneous mix of things because, as I say, I got caught with the rain and my grand plan of the big tour didn't work out. So my other things that I have here to show you are my cuttings. Right, so here's the thing. We'll do cuttings another day. I actually think I have a plan for the week after next. I'll do it on hydrangeas. Cuttings are a bit of a mystery. Some of them work, some of them don't. Don't break your heart trying to get cuttings right. The number one tip I have for you about cuttings is take loads of them. Because if you get a third to take, you'll be doing well. So I have here, these are, you know, if any of you read anything that I wrote about the lavenders and understand that I was heartbroken to dig out my lavender non-hedge. There, I don't know, I suppose 2.5 months ago, maybe 3 months ago now, because I just knew it was never going to come right this year and it was a total waste of time, and I just had to bite the bullet, get rid of it and replace it. So I have done that, but before I did, I decided I'd take cuttings of the plants that were going away, which is a bit risky because if it's not a healthy plant in the first place, propagating it, you might just be perpetuating your problem into the future with other non-healthy plants. But look, it was breaking my heart to throw away 10 plants. And I said, look, sure, I'll take a pile of cuttings, and if some of them take and look good in a couple of years' time, good and well. That's the other thing about cuttings. You wouldn't want to be expecting to have your plant for your next year. You want to be thinking about 2 years down the line. But the way I look at it is, you know, trying to get lavender to grow in boggy Roscommon is fighting a losing battle, and the chances are I'm going to probably need to replace more of them. So I'm coming up with my backup plan in advance here. So here are my little baby cuttings of lavenders, and look, they're all alive. And if I was going to do my Insta life, I would just post these. I will, Lisa, yeah, I'll do a list of tools, no bother. I would just post these and show them on Instagram like I was a genius. It's not all Insta, people. Here's the other pot with 2 decidedly dead ones, and also 2 slightly dodgy looking ones with brown tips, which I was originally hoping might be buds, but I'm starting to get concerned that are not buds. So when you're looking at these people who show you a pot of cuttings taken and they do one of these time delay photos and show them all sprouting looking fabulous in a month or two's time, there's another pot in the shed somewhere that looks more like this than this. Trust me, they're lying. I don't care what they say. Here's another one. It's hit and miss. Here's another one, and you can see this one has a little baby lavender flower. Oh, excuse my fingernails. My kids are off school and I had to do the salon today. So, oh, Lisa will be well impressed with that now. Look at that, Lisa. Not a manicure and a half. Anyway, there is the other ones. And as you can see, some of them are dead, some of them aren't. So the tip is take loads of cuttings, and some of them will work and some of them won't, and anything you get is a bonus. It's not something that I'd rely on. It's not like seeds. I have a way better hit rate with seeds, and I have got better with cuttings because, okay, this actually isn't too bad. Out of this pot of 4, 6 of them look like they're going to live. That's not bad. I used to have, I'd be lucky if I get half of them when I started off. So I'll go through that, how to do that another time, because that's kind of another law into itself. So yeah, that is that. And my other tip, so I go back now because I know I'm a bit all over the place, apologies. I go back now talking to you again about the hedge cutting and show you another trick that I meant to show before I moved on to my lavenders. So if you have, I keep a short box hedge length, so it's only kind of maybe a foot high. I'll post photos of it after this. And what's actually harder, I think, than trimming a spiral is trying to keep a dead straight line when you're cutting a hedge, you know, and that you don't have dips in the middle or a wave at the end of it. And I used to try, and you'll see them on, they'll tell you on the telly to do it with a string, you know, put a string up and have it tied at 2 ends and use that as your guideline. I used to find the string a dip, and I wasn't good enough a guide for me, and because maybe I'm just not skilled enough. But I came up with this thing. I think this is very handy. So what I do is I go around my garden and I find something, pots or something that are the right height for my hedge. And if I don't have a single pot, I stack you know, one pot on top of another, until I find some way of coming up with something fairly solid and decent sized that's the right size. And I kind of rest the clippers on that as I'm going along the hedge. And it stops me, okay, you can get the angle of the clippers slightly wrong. You can still go straight, but it's a lot harder. And because you kind of can't lose track, the line dip, or you can't lose track because you just move your bucket or your pot further along the line as you're going, and it keeps the whole thing kind of roughly the same edge. Now, I'm not saying it to pass any engineering exams, but it's not bad. So I'll post photos of that, and that is my other top tip for hedge trimming if you're doing those tightly leafed hedges like a box hedge. So that's basically it for this week, guys. I'm sorry it's not a little bit longer. I'll hopefully give you a bonus episode next week or something to make up for it if we get any bit of sunshine, but it's not great here. I hope it's better where you guys are. And that's it for now. Thanks a million, and I'll see you soon. Bye.